Hi everyone, it's Jaden. Welcome back to my channel. I just want to first thank all my subscribers helping me grow and build my channel. It is definitely growing more and more lately, and it's very exciting for me to see that. I went ahead and gathered up a bunch of frequently asked questions. I made a list, so I want to go ahead and read those off and answer them one by one. I get a lot of these questions from my comment section and direct messages. I want to go ahead and address them in this video. So I'll just get right into it. Number one is, how long did it take you to recover? Okay, so I would say 18 months. Now, that is 18 months of me really deliberately and focusing on healing myself. I had the major health crash about 18 months ago, but I would say it's been building up to it for the past like 7 years. I've had, light versions of these symptoms that I had after the major crash. But if I look back on my life, I've always experienced a lot of stress and anxiety, as a child and growing up, and workload, work stress, life stress, personal, anxiety and stuff like that. So I've had many years of build up in stress and anxiety, and but when I hit the crash till I recovered from all the symptoms that I've had since the crash, it was 18 months. Okay, number two, did you have depression? It's funny, out of all the hundreds of symptoms I had, depression was not one of them. I think I'm just a very entertaining person. Like I'm a very creative person, and I always have things on my mind that I want to create or explore or experience. So depression wasn't one of my symptoms. That being said, depression is a very, very common symptom for people who are going through adrenal fatigue, hormonal imbalances, and health crashes. So it wouldn't be uncommon if you're going through that. Just because I didn't have that doesn't mean it's not common. It's actually a pretty common symptom. Okay, number three, did you have stomach and digestion issues? Again, that's also something I did have some, but it wasn't a major symptom for me. But that is also another symptom that is very, very common amongst those who are suffering from anxiety, adrenal fatigue, hormonal imbalance, and stuff like that. Number four, did you take any pharmaceutical medications? No, I did not. I was born and raised very holistic, and I've lived my life that way. And even with how harsh this health crash hit me, I had decided very early on that I was not going to go down the route of pharmaceutical medicine. Again, that was my personal choice. It could work for you, it could not work for you. You definitely do your own research and decide that for yourself. I was very thankful that I was able to make full recovery without going down the route of pharmaceutical medicine. Number five, what were the worst symptoms for you? Wow, there are so many bad symptoms. But if I had to pick a few like really bad ones and really uncomfortable ones, was the nocturnal anxiety or panic attacks. Those were bad. You just can't sleep, and you're just within those, you're also experiencing like just so many symptoms within those. So like if you're getting nocturnal anxiety or like panic attacks, you could have heart palpitations while you're sleeping. You can have these like weird head sensations. You could have shortness of breath, choking feelings. I mean, there's just a lot of symptoms that comes from that. So if I group them into one, that would be like nocturnal, nighttime anxiety and panic attacks. Those were really bad. The other one would be just an overall of not being able to push. If you're going through this, you're going to experience a sense of being very drained to the point where you just can't push through any kind of stressful situation. You're living under this constant state of falling over, if that makes any sense. Like you're just so tired and so low energy that like the smallest things will cause you to just want to like fall over and like fall over and die. I know that sounds harsh, but that's what you feel like when you're going through it. I would say those two would be my worst two symptoms. I could name tons of other ones, but if I to just go off of severity, those two would be like the most two like uncomfortable and harsh symptoms I got. Number 6, did you have blood sugar regulation issues? Oh my God, yes. I mean, yes. Because of your adrenal not being balanced and just your overall hormone profile not being optimal, you can't regulate your blood sugar like a normal person. You eat, your blood sugar goes up, then very quickly it'll drop and you'll feel like you can't move and you'll get headaches. You'll get all kinds of other symptoms from that. You'll feel like you can't get out of bed in the morning. If your blood sugar is low in the morning, you'll eat different things thinking that it will help you, and it doesn't most of the time. And if it does, it's very short-lived. And that all has to do with your hormones are in balance, and you just can't lift, like you can't lift your blood sugar when you need to, and you can't lower your blood sugar when you need to, because your hormones that regulate those functions are off. So I'm gonna throw in a couple of tips that really help me. One, in the beginning, definitely eat regularly. I've covered this on other videos, but you cannot be hungry. Like at first, if you're trying to heal this, if you get hungry, you will hit a crash and you will not be happy. So you really need to feed yourself, and when you feed yourself, you need to feed yourself enough and also a balance of all the macronutrients. However, the best sugar sources that I found were fruit, believe it or not, and actually like simple sugar like honey. Certain starches were like okay, like sweet potatoes, but I found that like grains, sweet potatoes, even potatoes, pasta and stuff like that, I mean, if you're eating those, at least for me, you were just never gonna heal from this, because your blood sugar is just gonna go up and down and up and down. You're just gonna crash. You're gonna be in a crabby mood. You're gonna, trigger all the other symptoms, and you're gonna have anxiety because your body is under stress, and you're like, that's gonna trigger anxiety. And if you eat the wrong thing, like if you eat too much starches, like before bed, I will guarantee you're gonna have like nighttime anxiety, and then you'll wake up fucked up. So for me, again, this is just all coming from my experience, and I really have had an experience with this. Starches does not do well when you're at the severe part of recovering, like when you're at the lowest low rock bottom and you're trying to rebuild yourself and heal yourself. Starches, like I would stay away. Fruits, you'd think with the high sugary content it would cause you to have ups and downs and crashes, but magically it doesn't. From the researches I've done, it's because fructose, it enters your bloodstream differently, and it doesn't trigger insulin as much as starches. I feel very nurtured from all the vitamins and minerals that you get from fruits on top of that. So I stuck with fruit, and that was like one of the key jumps in my recovery, was when I just did my research, trial and error, and I finally found and like narrowed in on like, okay, this is a type of carbs that I'm gonna try to eat. And fruits, veggies, especially fruit, it just lifted me, and from there I was starting to make a lot of good recovery. So that was a big thing for me, was implementing fruit and not skimping on fruit. Like I didn't limit myself. It was just like I was eating fruit all the time. I was eating tons of fruit, tons of veggies, tons of protein, and tons of good fats, and frequently. And that was one of the huge jumps that I made in my recovery. Oh, and there's also some herbs like holy basil, ashwagandha are the two top herbs that you would want to take for the blood sugar regulation. Number 7. Okay, so the question is, did you have thoughts that didn't feel like your own? It's a very interesting question. I understand I believe I understand what you're asking, and that is, now for me, I know I didn't have thoughts that I felt like it weren't my own, but from what you're describing in your question, I have a hunch that you are experiencing depersonalization or derealization. Check out my videos on that. Anxiety can do major havoc and like major damage to like your senses, your brain functions, and your memory, like all kinds of stuff. And depersonalization and derealization are two things that can happen. When you're under really severe stress and anxiety, your body can go in a mode where, just imagine if you're like a deer running away from a tiger or a lion. You're finally bit, like you're attacked by this tiger or lion, and they've pinned you down and they're gonna eat you and you're about to die, and you're experiencing like major anxiety and panic. Your system your survival instinct will put you into the zone of like, you're just not in touch with reality. Because if you were to be in touch with reality, it would just cause you to freak out so much that your body and your system will just choose to kind of like detach yourself. And so modern day chronic anxiety and stress puts your body through the same type of stress as if like a tiger and a lion has just pounced you down and it's like about to eat you. So your body's gonna go in fight or flight overload, and then it's gonna go into like fetal position, make you feel like you're not in touch with reality, because reality is just, you're gonna die. So when that happens, it causes your brain to start feeling really weird, like you don't feel like you're actually in your body. You could have thoughts that feel like it's not your own because you're just so checked out, because that's the state that your body gets in when you're under major chronic stress. And I've had that many times. So check out my video on that. That could answer your question. Let's see. Number 8, how long will it take for all these symptoms to go away? Yes, I mean, that is the question, isn't it? So yeah, it's gonna be different for everyone. I know it's such a boring and stupid answer because you just want me to tell you exactly how long, because it's so fucking like painful to live with every day. But you know, everyone's different, and how you heal is gonna be different, and how long you've been like this also, it's gonna be a factor in how fast you're gonna recover. But just always remember, this really helped me, that count my I started to focus on my small battles that I was winning, instead of like, okay, I haven't won this war against anxiety and health imbalance, and when is this gonna be over? Well, that's just gonna make you feel more stressed out, and I learned that like the hard way, where I was making myself stressed out because I was just so focused on being rid of this thing. But that didn't help. So then I got smarter and wiser, and I started to just go, you know what? Today I'm less stressed than yesterday, or today these symptoms improved. And you just, like health journal really helps. I made a video on that as well. And just count your wins, even if they're little, because they'll build up. And if you feel better, you're gonna get your big win. You're gonna win your war against this. So I shouldn't say win your war against it, because that just puts like even more like anxiety. I guess that's a bad choice of word. But just you will eventually get there, and it's just know that it's a gradual process most of the time. And for most people that I've spoke with and research upon, for myself, it was very gradual. It wasn't one of those like, oh, I woke up and now like I'm healed. You're not gonna feel that. So it's sometimes you feel like nothing is improving because it's so gradual. But if you look back, you actually are improving. How much exercises? Number 9, how much exercises to do? I have a very specific video for that. Check my playlist and you can find it. And it's actually, the title is like how much exercise to do. You want to do just enough for where you're at in the healing process. So if you're healing you're just starting to recover, you're gonna want to do like the lightest amount of stretches, if any. You got to go by what your body can take. A good way to kind of know how much it is for you would be how you feel after you do it. Do you feel drained and exhausted, or do you feel energized and uplifted? Remember, you're recovering from a health crash. You're not going to be like before. Let's say you're an athlete and you're used to pushing yourself and having these hard workouts and then recovering and becoming stronger. Well, that flow is gone for you temporarily because your system's compromised. So you can't go in thinking like, okay, I'm gonna just do these workouts that like I really push and then I'm gonna feel good. Well, you won't. You'll actually just crash because now your body can't lift yourself back and grow higher. You're just gonna go lower and lower and lower. So you gotta do just enough, and with your compromised body, you could still recover because you do just enough. Even though you're compromised with health crash, your body will recover, and by recovering, that makes you stronger, and that's how you gradually heal yourself. Just not to do too much, but to do something consistently. And number 10, and just back to number 9, like things that were good would be like, stretching, yoga, walking. I loved walking, especially in nature, because it relaxes you. It, better air, calms you down, and you're getting exercise that's moderate and mild. And just sometimes start with like 5 minutes of walking. I mean, I know if you're like someone who's used to doing a lot, like that just sounds like, why would I even do that? It's like nothing, right? But no, it is something, because now you're in a different physiological state. You're compromised, so you can't think that like more is better now. You got to think more in terms of like less is better until I build myself back up, and then more will gradually be beneficial again, because once you're strong enough to handle harder workouts, then the harder and harder workouts will benefit you more. You just got to work yourself up to it. Okay, number 10, what are the biggest triggers for symptoms and crashes? Anytime you push yourself, when you're trying to recover, if you feel like pushing yourself past your limits in any category of your life, sex, workouts, being around people, being stimulated by lights or movies, or just being out and about, and you feel like you're getting social stress. With the pandemic right now, it's very common that you go out and you're so like OCD about germs and stuff. Like that's a stress. So I would say the biggest trigger would be in any way pushing yourself past the limit. And you got to find what that limit is if you want to recover from this. Because if you constantly are going past your limit, you're just gonna like be in that circle of stress, crash, feel bad, and never recover. Spend some time, get really present, and know like, this is how much I can do right now. If I want to recover, I got to stay within those limits. And in fact, give yourself replenishment on top of just staying in those stress limits that you can handle. Okay, number 11, how do I contact you directly with more questions? Definitely in the comment section. I go through every comment I get. You can also direct message me on my Instagram, which is the Jaden Christopher, and just note on it like I follow your YouTube channel, and I have a question on adrenal fatigue and anxiety and health crashes, and I will look into that and get back to you. You're free to leave me your own contact information through there, and then I can contact you that way. Okay. So that is all the questions I have for today. If you guys like this type of videos, I will list out more questions and do another video in the future like this. And yeah, please keep commenting and helping me and helping each other through this time. I know it's a very stressful time for everyone, especially with what's going on in the world. And the more research I do and the more people I've talked to, I've really realized that this wasn't just happening to me and a very small amount of people. This is like very normal or very common these days for us and for people of the world to be experiencing, high amounts of stress and anxiety, and that's causing health imbalances and discomfort and symptoms that are horrible. That's something that is really happening now, and I'm really glad that I could be a part of a support system that I'm building here, and I'm sure there's plenty out there too that is helping people relate, cope, and heal themselves from this type of health imbalance. I just want to thank you guys again. If you haven't subscribed, please help me grow my channel by subscribing, commenting, liking, and sharing my content with people who you think might benefit. And those of you who are interested in collaborating with me, I am looking into doing some collaborative videos. I have a few people in mind that I'm in the talks of doing some interviews and just put that out on my channel as well. So feel free to comment and contact me about that. And yeah, and help me, create a support system for those who are interested in optimal health and well-being. Okay, I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.